Hello, Money Queens and listeners. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions. Let's meet the women behind the millionaires, the women supporting, guiding, celebrating women with their wealth. You will hear from women millionaires, how they got there, what they wish they had known, what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, best-selling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women. Hello, Money Queens. Welcome back to another episode of Women Behind the Millions, where we talk all things power, pink, and prosperity. We are in our season with our fellow financial trendsetters, these trailblazing women, these icons, legends in the financial industry. And tonight is going to be a lot about when you feel like no one is supporting you, no one's got your back, and yet you are that woman for everybody else. And when you feel so alone, so scared, and yet you still decide to take bold action, where does that come from? The resiliency, the courage that it takes to do it. Let me give you a little idea of who our guest is tonight. I am thrilled to be here with her. I'm also really excited because this is our first time recording in my own studio space. We moved into a new office a week ago, and I have my own studio right here. So excited to have a space. Before I was lugging things back and forth, trying to squeeze it in between conference calls, meetings, conference meetings, all that good stuff. Well, today we have a trailblazer, Amber Bentley, with us. She is a Florida-based entrepreneur, mother of 3 boys who knows what it means to juggle real life while building something. Raised in the church, she believes integrity and service should lead every conversation. Through her work in Medicare and retirement planning, Amber helps clients make smart, stress-free decisions that protect their health, income, and future. So let's bring to stage with us, we have Amber Bentley. Hello, Amber. How are you tonight?
Hi. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. How are you?
I feel very blessed and grateful too. I love that. I remember somebody telling me, instead of saying have a good day, have a blessed day. It's like, wow, that's such a good little shift.
It changes it.
Go ahead.
It changes it. It changes everything. It changes how you look at it, right?
Yes. So you coming today feeling really blessed. You had some big news you shared with me before the call. You want to share it with everybody here?
Yeah. So Bentley Wealth Partners is officially up and growing. So that's pretty new. Everything has been taking a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I think that's just the process of doing things the way you want to do them.
Yes. Any kind of renovation, you were having to reschedule this call. I'm like, oh, I thought the construction would have been done by now, and it wasn't. They came early, all of those things, but it takes twice as long, twice as much money. Be fine. Do you need a second?
Yeah, 1 second. Oh, it was just stuck there. So.
Oh, that's okay. You're good. We have an editor, so don't worry. Get all this here. All right, Amber. Well, in your chat, something really bold stood out to me right away. Not conceited, convinced. And that I just feel the power shift behind that phrase, the confidence behind it. I remember growing up, my mother would always say, if you look in the mirror too long, you're being conceited. If you talk about yourself, you're being conceited, you're bragging. And I feel that happens to a lot of women to the point where they can't even accept a compliment without having to pick up a flaw. Oh, I love your hair today. Oh, it's so frizzy and great, that kind of stuff, when it really just is a beautiful hair. We do that all the time. When did you feel this shift for yourself? Not conceited, convinced.
I think that I've had that mindset since I was younger. I mean, I grew up with 3 brothers, right? So the amount of confidence my house had in it, I was just like another person, right? Like, how can I look at these guys and what they're being told and not think the same for myself? So I'm like listening and absorbing everything they're saying and what they're saying about themselves, how they talk about themselves. And I'm like, oh, well, they're my brothers. I look like them. I obviously have everything they have, right? So I just I want to say like I was 5'10" in like 5th grade. So I always stood out, and it was like this shift of insecurity to more of this is who I am. I'm okay. Just the names that you were called at a younger age, I let them eat me alive for a long time. And then I feel like in high school, I just started to feel like more comfortable, and I was really good at sports, and that brings a lot of confidence with it as well. So I was like, okay, great. And then it just shifted into the rest of my life.
I love the sports and the confidence, especially for young women, and finding when you have that team approach, you're getting cheered on by people on your team, the stands, there's a camaraderie around it as well. Word too, but yeah, it can be very challenging for somebody who's taller as a young lady. I love that your brothers kept that confidence going for you. Do you feel like some of your work also helps women uncover their confidence, maybe with their money, their finances, their retirement, these decisions that they have to make?
Absolutely. I can think of one instance recently. One of my
Yeah.
clients, she had just gone through like a divorce, and it was physical, all these things without sharing too much about her. And she just was like watching out her window all the time, super just scared of life. And we just had like this in-depth, amazing conversation. And I was like, okay, so what's our next move? And she's like, well, he took care of everything. I was like, okay, well, we're going to put one foot in front of the other now. So this is how we're going to move forward. So how do I help you? And I was helping her with things I like that were not in my realm or scope. And I would tell her, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not a realtor, but if you need my help, let me help you and guide you in this space, right? I get no benefit from it, rather than just watching someone succeed and watching a woman be empowered in a way they haven't felt in a very long time.
Yes. I love that. It's just going above and beyond and focusing on that relationship and the person behind it, not necessarily just their finances. Part two. How has your confidence played a role with work and being a mom? Raising three boys while building this empire is not an easy feat. A lot of women don't step into that and take it on. They think, well, let me just get through the young years of my kids being babies. Let me just get through this busy time they're in sports, right? There always seems to be a reason why we shouldn't do it. But here you are raising three boys, stepping on your own, launching your Bentley empire. Has confidence played a role in this?
Absolutely. So I have my degree, but when I had my first son, I was a single mom, and I was still bartending, and I saw that life, and people would come up to me, they'd be like, "Why, you're too smart to be here." And not that bartenders aren't have their own, great things, but I was like, man. And so I became unhappy. Like I was honestly just like felt unhappy with the way my life was. And I'm a genuinely happy person. And I was like, what is here that I'm missing? And I just saw what I was having to give up for my son, the working and everything like that, and still not, hitting a good number for most people, but not the number that I wanted. I like to spend money a lot, so I got to make sure I'm making it. But in that, I grew this confidence, and I said, well, if I want to take us out of here, if I want something better for him, if I want to make sure that I can be there for every game, I can be there in the morning, I can be there at night, I need to make a shift for him. And so it became that he gave me that confidence almost, in that I knew that I had to succeed for him, and I had to be able to level us up in a way to get us where we needed to be. And then that, and now I have two more kids. And so I think the driving force and kind of the confidence for that is knowing that they're always watching me. Knowing that they're watching me and how I hold myself, how I carry myself, how I walk into a conversation. And I hope that that's how they genuinely will hold themselves as well. And then also see a strong woman and say, wow, I can't wait to be around strong women for the rest of our lives.
Yes. Yeah. You're teaching them what they should be looking for in a future spouse, let's say, as well. So you were raised with a lot of brothers. You have three boys of your own. What masculine traits do you feel like you take on that have helped you in this industry? And then I'm curious, what feminine ones did you have to learn to embrace more of?
The masculine would be the confidence for sure. You talked earlier, I think a big thing that throws men and mostly men off, women love it, is when a guy compliments me and says, "Oh, you did so well. Wow, I can't, you did," like, they'll just compliment the money or the looks or whatever. And I'm like, I know, thank you. And they what? Like, and they're like kind of taken aback that someone, okay, I know, like knowing my worth, I'm not supposed to know it. Right. So I feel like that's part of it as well. masculine. I box as well. And my boxing class is mostly men. Yeah. So I think that's pretty masculine in general. And I feel like during my life, it just, I always geared towards the sports. I always geared towards, playing outside and doing those activities that were seen more as the masculine. The feminine, I love to shop. I love shoes. I love heels.
Glasses. I know you have all glasses.
Style. I love to be stylish with everything. And I think that for me, a long time in this business, I think in the beginning of my career, especially in where I was, I dealt with a lot of harassment. So I stopped dressing feminine. Like I stopped wearing skirts for 4 years.
Wow.
4 years I didn't wear a skirt or a dress. 4 years. And I love dresses and I love skirts and I love makeup. I love being dolled up. Like you don't really catch me in makeup very often, but I love it. I love being that feminine version of myself. But it really it was like, well, I guess I have to, the suit jackets, but not even with like a skirt or anything, just because I wanted to be seen. They were treating me less than because of whatever it may be. And I was like, nah, this doesn't work for me. Let's level my playing fields.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny. I'm with you. Like I love a week when I have to do my hair and makeup, but then I love getting glammed up too. Like having a little bit of both of those forward too. You mentioned in the book being a psychologist behind the bar. So a little bit before you talk about having your son working, being a bartender, and you realized you were having these really deep conversations with people at your bar. What was that like? And that kind of, how did that lead to that next step from being a bartender to now running your own financial firm?
Yeah. So I feel like hospitality workers are like good ones are really great in this business. As long as, they have the wherewithal and everything like that, we can talk to anyone, or that past brings us the multitasking, doing many things at once. And when people would sit at my bar, like I knew their life story. The next time they came in, and it's so funny, I work with retirees, but I have these two guys that when I was still in college serving, they would come in and see me. And they would come see me once a week. My brother and I worked together, so they would come see him or me, whoever was there, but they preferred me, right? Mm-hmm. So they'd come in. One of the guys unfortunately passed 2021. And the other guy, we are still friends. He came to see my kids. He's 85 years old. And this is someone I've remained friends with all these years. So a couple of the people that I served behind the bar, they ended up moving to Tampa, and I've gone out to lunch with them and things of that nature. So it's a friendship, right? It's the relationship. And I think that bartending taught me how to talk to anyone comfortably. Oh, I was pretty much already like that, but a little bit better, right? Keep the conversation where it needed to be. And then this is our relationship business. And I think that everyone seems to forget that, we take ourselves out of it and we're like, how do we streamline this the easiest way? But this is relationships. If you want referrals, if you want people to continue to talk to you, if you want to grow a team, you better know about that team, right? You better know what they're going through, how their finances look, where you can help them and where they can help you. It's getting to know people. And I think that I had to humble myself a little bit because I am a talker and learn to listen a little bit more and learn a lot a bit more. Learn to listen and actually absorb what people are saying and not just wait for my own turn to talk.
There's always a learning moment, it seems like, in your life, Amber. You seem to just be one of those people that are continuously on this path to wanting to learn and grow and evolve, reflect back. What did that teach me? What can I learn from it? Part two. You have this other amazing moment in the book, landing a deal while giving birth to your third son. Can you take us back to this moment? Because again, and you seem similar to me. I remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, my first, I was adamant. I did not want my work to slow down just because I'm having kids. I wanted to be on this path where I can continue to grow my business while still being a mom and engaged at home. Seems similar to you too, Amber. And this is case in point with this story. Can you share the story with us?
Yeah, we had been working on this case for quite some time, and it was pretty large. And my business partner at the time, she was like, I don't know if I can do this without you. So I had already gone to the hospital. My son was born on the 6th. I had gone to the hospital on the 29th, and I was like, hey, I think I'm in labor. And they're like, well, you're not dilated enough, right? So I'm like, okay, great. They're like, go to the doctor on Wednesday and we'll get this taken care of. I'm like, okay, great. I go whatever time, my still appointment, and I go in and I'm like, okay, hey, what's going on? I'm thinking I have the whole day ahead of me. We have this appointment already set up. I'm like, they already sent me home once. They're not going to do this today. Like, they're waiting. And my kid was actually not supposed to be born until the 25th of the month. Okay. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, we're good. Like, I got 19 days. All my kids have been late. We're fine. So I go to talk to the doctor, and he's like, yeah, so we're going to need you to go to the hospital right now. And I'm like, oh, I actually can't. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I actually have an appointment I have to go to in Zephyr Hills, which is like an hour away. And he was like, Amber, you can't do that. I can't guarantee you're not going to go into labor. And I was like, sir, my kids are always late. Like, we're good here. And he's like, I have to advise you, you have to go to the hospital. And I'm like, so I call my husband. I'm like, hey, I'm on my way to the hospital. Bring my bag. Like, let's go. And he was like, what about the day? So I call my partner, I'm telling her, and they hit me with the Pitocin. I was a little bit further from going. And I'm on the phone with her, telling her how to close it. I'm walking her through the steps. I'm talking to the client via the phone. I'm like, yeah, My husband's looking at me with enragement, like, well, what are you doing? And I'm just like, yeah, okay. And because she just didn't know the ifs, ands, or buts. And he's like, I'm walking them through it. And then, so that was very interesting. And the client at first was a little upset I wasn't there. And then she was like, well, she's giving birth today. And he was like, oh, okay.
Legitimate excuse.
If you have one, right?
Amazing. Yeah. Commitment, but leadership too, and then trust in your team, which I will love to go into. We're going to take a quick look at Financial Trendsetters 3, and then let's take a look at your career, the mentorship, the leadership portion of your story, Amber, because it's so impactful. What if money wasn't separate from who you are, but an extension of how you live? Financial Trendsetters 3 brings together powerful women from across the financial industry who are redefining leadership, wealth, and legacy on their own terms. Led by Nora Gillis, this book features the voices of Amber Bentley, Sarah Elia, Tanya Cleaver, Vicki Bean, April Crew, Karen Santini Clemens, Sarah Branston, Kimberly Corsett, Leah West, Colleen Goodwillie, Amy Frank Goldman, and Jessica Weaver. Women who are integrating money into the full picture of life, not treating it as something separate or intimidating. These stories are honest, they're human, and they reflect what's possible when women lead with authenticity, value, and purpose. Even more meaningful, proceeds from this book help fund a scholarship for a woman entering a career in finance, supporting the next generation of leaders in our industry. Financial Trendsetters 3 is more than a book, it's a movement, and it's here. All right, we are back with Amber Bentley, who is one of our Financial Trendsetters, Financial Trendsetters 3. You can get it now on Amazon. It was a best-selling book. Huge launch day for it too. Well, Amber, I wrote this one comment about your chapter, a string of broken promises, and your future always being controlled by men on top. What was it like going on in your career at this time? And then I would love to go into what it took for you to walk away from what was no longer serving you.
Two loaded questions, right?
Yes. Let's go first.
Yeah. So with the men in my career, it's so crazy because I feel like I had a lot of supportive men. Like I grew up with supportive men. I really did have a great support system. They just weren't the people that were leading me. And it didn't matter what I was doing or how well I was doing it or what I was giving up to do it. It didn't matter to them. It was just like, okay, well, good for you. It just, and I you see the way they treat their spouses or they treat their girlfriends, and then you kind of relate it back to how they're treating you. And it's like, oh, okay, the value in women in general isn't there for you. And then when you start to see that, you start to notice a trend, right? I mean, I remember very recently helping an agent just grow. Like, I mean, I'm saying I was answering his phone calls on the weekends. It was during Medicare season, so my firm does all of that. But he had written over 100 applications, and my big boss, came in and sat with me and said, "Hey, we're moving him off your team." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Like, why are we doing that?" And he was like, "Oh, this other guy I really want him to learn the financial aspect and da. And I kind of looked at him, and in the beginning of the conversation, he had told me how much I had made this year. And then I said, "Well, all that money you talked about that I made was made from financial." He's like, "Yeah, but you get what I'm saying." And but when I left, he couldn't believe it. He was like, "Why would you walk away from this amount of money?" And I was like, I want to go help empower women. I want to go do something different than this, because putting in every part of yourself, giving up that time with your children, closing deals while you're giving birth, right? There's a give and take of that. Mm-hmm. And when the take becomes more than the give, I can't do it anymore, And I feel like I'm a believer in everything happens exactly how it should. Walking away was the hardest decision I have had to make because of the money I was making. It didn't serve me anymore. When I was constantly, just like I said with bartending, when I started feeling that shift of my happiness changing, me not being able to control my own path, at that point, I was just like, I just don't think this is for me anymore. And when men started having conversations that I should have been a part of and they were leaving me out of the room, I was just like, I'm not being valued here. Yeah. And I'm just kind of being used for my talent. And at that point, I'm like, I'm going to check myself out and go do my own thing. And they weren't very happy with me, and they're still not very happy with me. But it's hard and you said I'm pretty reflective. I think a lot of people lack that. So when I walked away, they were like, "Why would she walk away from this?" Like,
you're not reflecting on their role in you walking away.
Yeah.
They're not learning anything from this situation. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that I try to live a life that when something no longer serves me, it no longer lives in my life. Because, I mean, at that point, what are we going to do, right? Just keep beating a dead horse or whatever.
Yes. It's like they take a little bit of you each time things like that happen. And then you get to that point, you're like, there's nothing left. I need to now go back and reclaim all those pieces that they took away from me and build myself back up. What was the family support like during this decision? Because it's a big decision. I went through it myself, and those are hard conversations to have.
Depends on who you were talking to, right? So my husband is this amazing, supportive person. He has no idea what I do. Really. He just knows that we live a great life because of it. But he every step of the way, writing the book, every step. I mean, there's times where he's like, is this the path we want to take? Like, what are you giving up? But I mean, I also sheltered him from a lot of the harassment and a lot of the things that were happening because I wasn't going to leave, right? It's like an abusive boyfriend. If you're not going to leave, why are you going to complain about it? And then it wasn't until I started telling him like, well, this is actually why I have to leave. And he was like, oh, you need to go now. Like, you need to go today. My father, that was a different story. My brother, who's always supportive, was super supportive. He's been in the industry for years. He understood and he knows what I'm worth. So he was like, that you should be where you're, getting what you deserve. My dad was like, how do you walk away from, he said the same thing the guy said to me. He said, how do you walk away from a career where you make that much money? And I think for him, and I get it, there's that sense of taking care of me. I'm his daughter. I'm his little girl. So there was this sense of, you live a very comfortable life. You're like, I'm afraid for you, right? I don't think it was, and my dad's not an entrepreneur. He's a nurse practitioner. So he doesn't have the same mindset I do when it comes to things, because I'm always big picture. He's like, how do we make it the most practical? So for me, I think that my big picture idea kind of sent him for a shook. He does call me once a week now and ask me like, how's it going? How are we going? How's it going? I think there's that worry there. And I understand that as a parent, you want your children to be safe. You want them to be comfortable. But I feel like I had an overwhelming amount of support. Like even when I left, a lot of the people that I left that weren't in that mind frame were like, you're going to do great no matter what you do. Like, you belong somewhere else. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like just checking that box again.
Yeah, I'm sure your energy's coming back to you, your passion, everything just lighting up the path forward for Bentley Wealth Partners. Incredible. Well, Amber, we have one more question for you. Are you ready for it?
Ready.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
It's my ability to support people and empower them. That's what makes me a woman behind the millions.
And being that example, I mean, just for myself, of a woman who was able to say no to something that wasn't serving her, leave a toxic environment to create her own place where she can really bring more women up with her. And you've been mentoring women your whole career, and now I'm sure you're going to be able to do it even more as well, Amber. So thank you so much. Thank you for taking the bold risk to launch Bentley Wealth Partners. I wish you the best of luck. You have such a bright future with this business. It's going to be amazing to see. We'll have to have you back on so we can see how it's going for you as well.
Yeah. In a year from now, we'll do a checkup, right?
Exactly. Where are they now? The trendsetters.
Yeah.
Me too. Well, thank you so much, Amber, for being on tonight. It's been such a pleasure to hear your story. You are such a multifaceted woman. The boxing, I had no idea about. The deals while giving birth to your third son, just incredible. So thank you, Amber, for being part of Trendsetters and being on our show tonight. And thank you to all of our viewers and listeners to tuning into another episode of our show. It's because of you we keep this going, and I learned so much, and I hope you all do as well. We will see you on our next episode next week. Good night, ladies.
Bye.
Hey, money queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at pinkfixmymoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more millionaire money tips.